Thank you, Gormagat Cahirlock, and welcome, Minister. And I want to thank the senators for bringing forward this motion to the House this evening. I don't know what planet you'd have to be living on not to know that there is a crisis in terms of housing affordability and supply, particularly in this city. And this motion speaks particularly to the crisis situation that renters are finding themselves in. And it's a crisis that predates COVID. COVID has absolutely compounded the crisis, but it's not as if the crisis didn't exist beforehand. In fact, that's why housing was the single biggest issue, I think, in the immediate issues in the last general election. And the government, the three parties in government, certainly understand that crisis. The three parties in government are absolutely committed to tackling the crisis, and not to tackle it through sloganeering or motions or anything like that, but actually to tackle it, to do the hard work of legislating and passing budgets to make a difference to people's lives by ensuring that they have access to secure, affordable homes, homes that meet their requirements, homes that will allow them get on with their lives and allow their children get on with their lives. Because access to secure, affordable housing is an essential requirement. It's an essential human requirement. It affects individuals' health, their mental health, their physical health, but also their economic and their social health and their ability to get on with their lives. It has much broader implications for wider society and for our macroeconomics. In terms of the rental, the private rental market, there's 300,000 roughly private rental tenancies. So it's not as if all of those rental tenancies are bad. There are many good quality tenancies, and there are many people living in good quality rental accommodation. But there are significant problems around overcrowding, and there are significant problems around lack of affordability. And that's why government is committed to ensuring a sustained supply of social and affordable homes for the first time to rent, not just to purchase. We have to legislate for it, though. There isn't any legislation in place for affordable housing to rent. We're trying to pass that legislation, and I hope our colleagues on the other side of the House will facilitate the passing of the legislation to allow the government to provide affordable housing to rent. We have to fund it. And I take your point that there is only 450 or 440 actually cost rental homes will be delivered this year, but that's because there's no legislation existed in previous years for it, and the local authorities and the AHBs are crying out for that legislation, which we intend passing, which will give them the powers to deliver cost rental. And the cost rental and affordable rental then will be providing people with secure homes, certainty and affordability. And that's what this government is determined to do. I suppose I should, I'm looking at the clock, read the amendment, and the amendment is, Cahirlock, to delete all words after notes that, and we wish to substitute with the following. Government remains fully committed to ensuring an increase in the supply of affordable, high-quality rental accommodation through continued significant capital investment, including cost rental and other means, and in a manner that represents the security of tenure for tenants by ensuring equity and fairness for landlords and tenants. The recent rental reforms introduced, in particular the development and expansion of rent pressure zones, has led to a moderation of the rate of increase of private sector rents, whilst ensuring that the supply of private rental property remains unaffected by these price control mechanisms. The RTB indicates that price increases have been less than 2%. The provisions of the Residential Tenancies Act relating to rent pressure zones are due to expire at the end of December 2021, and the Minister for Housing, Local Government and Heritage is considering what balanced measures may be necessary from 2022, taking into account the constitutionally protected property rights of landlords. The Government is committed to improving the security of tenure for tenants through legislating for tenancies of indefinite duration subject to the legal advices. And the sustained funding provided to local authorities to inspect rental properties and the strong legislative framework under which they operate the regime is making a positive contribution to ensuring that standards are maintained and improved as and when appropriate, and is sufficient to enable the required level of oversight of rental standards. As per the commitment in the programme for government, the new whole-of-government plan for housing, Housing for All, that the Minister for Housing, Local Government and Heritage intends to publish later this year, will ensure the provision of an adequate supply of high-quality, affordable rental accommodation remains a cornerstone of government policy under the plan. So, Cathaoirleach, that's the amendment. I believe it will be seconded by Senator Cummins. I would urge the House to accept the amendment, but more importantly, I would urge the House to work with the Minister and the Government to finally tackle once and for all the housing crisis, so that each of our citizens can have access to a secure and affordable home, and that they can reach their full potential and live their lives as they see fit. Gura Malgat.